Hey guys, if you're shopping for knives and gear, make sure you check out the description of the video you're watching right now for links to some great online retailers. There's also individual links for knives that I personally recommend. Thanks!
What's going on YouTube? Metal Complex here, and today I've got a super awesome custom knife showcase to share with you guys. This is the Brian Nadeau Sharp by Design full custom Arch Nemesis flipping dagger. Oh my god. I've had this knife for a while. I've been talking about it. It's made appearances on different live streams and different discussion topics. Man, this thing has just really messed me up in a good way. I love this thing. I've got so much to say. First off, thank you so much to Alex's Knife Box for sending this in for me to take a look at. Check him out on YouTube, and also make sure to check him out on Instagram. Wonderful guy, and I definitely would not have been able to get my hands on this so easily without him offering it up for review. Very cool. Also want to let you guys know that this is the Brian Nadeau from the Knife Nuts podcast. That's actually the knife that you see in the background of the logo. Pretty cool, right? That's if you guys have never listened to the Knife Nuts podcast, which I'm sure you have. I'm sure you have. Yeah, you definitely need to. Very cool stuff. This was an intimidating knife for me. I'll let you guys know that knives that range anywhere from, $20 up to about $1,000, I feel very comfortable reviewing. I feel like I can pick out whether or not I feel like something, is hitting the right mark within that price range. Every $100 up from the $1,000 mark, the knife becomes exponentially more intimidating, especially something like this that is so precision made, right? There's a reason that I don't do reviews. There's a reason I call this a showcase or an overview and not a review. I'm not going to review this. This is a showcasing. There are tons and tons and tons of custom knives out there that people ask me, do you want to take a look? Do you want to take a look? And I pick and choose the ones that I want to showcase that I think I'll be interested in, right? And then if I get it and I find that I like it, then I showcase it, right? But I'm not going to review this. First and foremost, because this is a wildly expensive knife and very difficult to find. The version you're looking at right in front of you, keep in mind, this is a full custom knife, meaning this is a handmade knife, okay? And on top of that, United States. Small batch, right? They come with a high price tag. It's just factually how that works. The one you're looking at right here is, according to Alex, $1,950. If I'm not mistaken, an Arch Nemesis dagger, a full custom Arch Nemesis dagger, Sharp by Design, will start around $1,500, and then they can reach upwards of $4,000 on the mega high end. So yeah, these are very, very expensive. They are sought after by people looking for specifically this, collectors, enthusiasts, right? And they are not readily available. I think I heard Brian Nadeau is making more. I don't know that factually. Heard that. The best way to get your hands on one, if you're looking at this going, oh my gosh, I have to have that, follow him on Instagram. Follow Brian Nadeau, Knife Nuts Podcast on Instagram. Probably follow Levon and the other guys. Levin, sorry. Keep saying Levon. Levin of the Knife Nuts Podcast and the other guys. Definitely that would be a good idea, right? That's as much information as I can give you. But yes, this was very intimidating. That's why it took me so long to do a video on it. I'll tell you guys, I love symmetry. I love overbuilt knives. And I have kind of a generic fascination with things that are expensive by nature because it makes me want to take a closer look at them. So I took my time with this. I told Alex and I told Levin, I said, this is not something that I can just pump out a video on, not that they were like, where's the video? Not, no, but this is something that made me want to take my time to look at. And I'll tell you guys, I have never wanted to spend... I've got my comfort zone like you guys do. I have my, the knives that I generally buy range from about $400 to $600 usually. Sometimes I'll go a little bit higher. The few times that I've spent more than that, I've found that it's neat, but I'm not getting that much more joy from this item than I am from the knives in it, right? So everybody's got their own price range. This guy, I know good and well, best case scenario, I would find one for $1,500, right? The one that I really want, I'll tell you, costs substantially more. But I've never actually wanted to spend that much money on a knife up until now. after handling this. This is a new bar for me. There's so many of my preferences, and some hidden preferences I didn't even know that I had until I handled this guy, right? So yeah, this is special. This is kind of a mile marker, honestly, for the channel, because there was a lot of things I didn't know that I wanted or didn't know that I could appreciate until this guy came along. Okay, that was a 5-minute intro. Like I said, though, this isn't a typical video. This is kind of a special upload. Thanks so much to my generous patrons who are supporting me right now. If you'd like to check out my Patreon, there's, of course, a link right down in the description. Your support means the world to me. And please make sure to follow me on Instagram at metal_complex. Let's go ahead and get the measurements and things out of the way. Overall length of the Arch Nemesis Dagger is coming in. This is a big knife, man. 9.4 inches, just shy of 9.5 inches, 9.4 inches. Blade length is coming in at about 4 1/8. That's what it looks like. Is it? Yeah, 4 1/8. Cutting edge, just shy of 4 inches, about 3.8 inches of cutting edge, and it is sharp on both sides. This is not a common thing that we see in the knife world, a flipper dagger, where it's actually sharp on both sides. Very difficult to do, even the people who have done it, executed it in a way where it's functional. There tends to be awkwardness with this stuff, right? Some of the best flipper daggers that I've seen out there, the Hinderer Maximus, the Arch, I'm sorry, oh no, not the Necronaut. The Arcane Design Antimatter was good, but there's just some general awkwardness with things because they are going for symmetry. At the same time, you have to have a flipper that is functional and safe to return the blade into the handle. So there's some extra oddities to work around. Not that I understand that. I don't make knives. I don't design knives. I just sit in front of my little rectangle with my tabletop, and then I tell you what I think, right? That's all I can do. But from what I've seen, yeah, I mean, designing like an OTF, much easier to do. I'm not saying that creating OTF is an easy process, but you don't have as much to work around because the blade comes right out of the handle, right? When it's coming out of the side, I'm just going to guess that that's quite a bit more complicated to get it all executed correctly. I talked with Levin about this guy real quick. We're going to add some more things in here before we continue with specs. The original idea behind this, he was involved with it. And I hope I'm doing Levin justice here, but I guess he pushed for a dagger design, and they originally had maybe something that was a little bit smaller. They had a bunch of different, I saw a bunch of different drawings and things, and they just decided to go, full send and do this big, by my definition, overbuilt dagger. This is a thick boy for a dagger, and I like that. That's my thing, right? It's part of what's drawing me to this. And the design, the lines on this, the profile, you have this aggressive, wicked, almost medieval-looking dagger, right? But it's so beautiful. The lines flow so perfectly. You have this almost kind of bat-wing-looking flipper tab. Makes me think of, an old, is it A.G.A. Camplin who does the bat-wing swing guard stilettos? Ooh, those are very aesthetically pleasing, but that's kind of what I'm getting here, except we have a modern, aggressive titanium frame lock flipper, right? That's part of the reason why. It's just this area right in here is really, really nice. I like that a lot. Okay, all right, let's save some of it for the video. Let's go ahead and do, I guess, we'll do, I'm not going to do a hardware check, but I'll tell you guys, I'm just not going to touch this with my tools. These are large fasteners, I believe T8 all the way across, and then we have a proprietary pivot, which I'm going to tell you guys, I don't care. On a knife like this, me personally, and I think a lot of people who own these are not knives that people are itching to take apart. The way I've handled, even on the Evo Typhoon, the one that's production made by Riot, the tolerances are so great. I didn't really even have to do much adjusting to the one that came to me used. Coming to me brand new, which I actually do have one still coming in, the 2020 or now 2021 version of the Evo Typhoon. Those will have torques it. But the tolerances on these things are great. They're made in a way to where you really don't have to mess with them. Obviously, somebody who's planning on taking their $2,000 out and using it every single day, maybe so. I'm going to guess, I don't speak for Sharp by Design or Brian Nadeau, I'm going to guess if something goes wrong and it's not your fault, that they will help you out with that. But you can adjust everything else on this knife except for the pivots easily, and I don't know if there's a special tool for that. Honestly, it might have been something that would have been good to ask about, but I didn't. If it were me, I just wouldn't care. I would trust that it's put together well. If you listen to the Knife Nuts podcast, they actually do talk about that often. Or there was an episode here recently where he talked about, you know, they're made in a way and they're fitted in a way that you really, you know, don't necessarily need to take them apart. You can rinse them out with water, blow them out with compressed air, and they'll continue to function just fine. But anyways, I don't want to get hung up on that because, again, this isn't a review. It's just a showcasing. So, yeah, we've got T8, it looks like, across the board there for the handle screws. Let's go ahead and weigh it. Now, blade stock thickness, I will go ahead and just grab that. That flipper tab is going to present us with a measurement of maximum thickness there. Gosh, that looks at least 165 thousandths to me. We're going to take a look here. This is the reason why people ask me, why is there tape on the calipers? This is why. So I don't mess up somebody else's. Good Lord! No, it's 190. It's 190 thousandths is probably. So we're looking at XM24 thickness, Hinder XM24 thickness. Close, a little more than 1/5 of an inch on this guy. That's cool. I like the overbuilt stuff. We're looking at titanium. And for people wondering what this material is, it's uranium Raphir Noble. Let's show that off real quick. Well, hold on. I'll weigh it, but let me give you guys a look at the inside. No milling on the inside, and that's fine. We are going to talk about the action, too. Weight on this guy, 5.57 ounces, right? People are, oh my gosh, that's heavy. I don't care. I don't care. It's a totally different type of video, guys. This is in terms of my preference and weight, yeah, it is over the length in terms of what I normally like to carry, but what I like to enjoy, what I like to just sit and enjoy, oh, you bet. Big old, you know, robust flipper dagger coming in at 5.5 ounces, giving it the weight that gives it the solidity that, you know, it feels how it looks. It feels capable and robust and just, you know, chunky, not in a bad way, chunky in a good way, you know. Does that make sense? Feels good. So this is uranium Raphir Noble. What is that? How is it made? I have absolutely no idea. But what's cool about it is that it will glow when it's charged with light. So we'll give you guys we'll charge it up here real quick. How cool is that? Man, that's awesome. I think I just think that's really cool. I think this is one of, according to Alex, I think this is the only glowing version of this knife that exists. And this was a material that he apparently sent in to Brian Nadeau to have that laid in there. Variants of this, I mean, go look at Brian Nadeau's Instagram. He's got tons of different, you know, there's a couple of different versions with or without the holes. He does this amazing, like, basket weave milling pattern on the blade. This guy actually has a milling pattern, too. We're going to take a look at that. But they use different blade materials. They've got some, I think, Damacor, Damasteel. They use some of the more standard stuff, right? And then they've got frames made out of titanium. I think there's a couple in zirconium, some Damascus. I mean, these are hyper exotic. I mean, Brian Nadeau is a master knife maker. I'm not even going to begin to try and explain the level of, you know, master craftsman that he is. This is why stuff like this is so intimidating, right? Somebody like me who's going to present this to an audience, something that is made by somebody who has been making knives for multiple times longer than I've even been interested in knives. Yeah, it's intimidating. No matter how long this video is and how much I love this knife, I'm not going to be able to do it justice. So I'm hoping that this all translates really well. But anyways, we still need to get through the rest of the specs. I guess we're going to do carry profile. Do we need to do carry profile? You know what? No, I'm not even going to mess with that. I'm not going to. I'll give you guys a look in terms of thickness. Yeah, it's thick, right? I guess we are going to go ahead and do it. Overall length, height, I mean, just to give you guys perspective, right? Not to sit here and argue infinitely over whether or not this is going to be the most ideal thing to carry in any given circumstance. There you go. It's longer than the PM2, and it's probably a little bit taller because of the profile of the flipper tab or the guard, right? All right. I think that's enough of that. Let's go ahead and move on. This has the most excellent flipping action that I have ever felt, right? Now, I don't judge quality of action by whether or not it falls shut. Fall shut action's cool, but you can get that periodically on a $20 to $30 knife, right? It's neat. There are different types of fall shut action, right? I mean, I felt fall shut action it's basically just a loose pivot, and it doesn't really matter the quality of the surfaces in there. It's just smooth enough to get it to fall because, you know, the weight of the blade and the mass of the blade is just gravity is assisting it, right? Then you've got knives like the Grimsmo Norseman that are so fall shut that it's almost dangerous, right? But it's a much higher quality. It's because of the surfaces on the inside are so, you know, they're so polished, and so every last little thing is taken into consideration, and it made sure that everything is consistent and smooth, right? I actually prefer an action that's a little bit more controlled because I don't like the idea of the blade falling on my fingers when I'm not paying attention, which actually has happened before. That's an old scar from that. I actually like something that's a little more controlled. That's what we have here. This action, or the quality of the inside here, the internals, the surfaces, it's all very consistent, very smooth. There's no part of that where it feels like there's, you know, the surface consistency is bumpy or lump. There's nothing like that. No. It's all completely and totally smooth. Little tiny bit of encouragement to get the blade to go into the handle. That's perfect to me. That's perfect. But what I like more is, and this is something that I loved about the Evo Typhoon, it's the combination of their detent system, which is a lip of, let me get my flashlight to where it's not so bright. Can we see up in there? That little lip hanging off of the steel lock bar insert. They don't use a traditional ceramic ball. And I like the ceramic ball detents, but these lipped, I don't know exactly what they call it. It creates for a very unique experience. It's very deliberate and snappy and clicky. There's no like point where you can, you know, sometimes on a ceramic ball detent you can pull and you can feel the blade sort of start to lift out of the hole and then it finally throws. This has got two modes. I mean, it's either it's closed or it's deploying. Like I can't fail it. It's once you break that detent, I'll try to slowly apply force. Oh my gosh. You're between the break of the detent and lockout, those are the only two things that you feel. The distinctive break of the detent and the click of the lockout. So smooth. Using I think skiff bearings when he can. Although Alex said he wasn't quite sure what was in this one. In any case, this feels incredibly smooth. Lockout, everything. It's so satisfying. I keep saying that's the emphasis on the action here. It's very satisfying to flip. I've never felt something that was so satisfying. And obviously, I think part of the credit is due to the shape of the flipper tab here. I know this isn't going to be people are going to think about in and out of the pocket. That's going to snag things, and it's got two pocket peckers, and okay. But as far as like just, you know, the experience that you get with this thing, I think you know, this flipper tab, obviously it only flips from one side because of the way that it's constructed. It has to lock out, so it's got a stop pin up here, right? It's only on one side. If it can't deploy out both sides, it doesn't work like that. I'm saying that like nobody knows. I get it. You guys know. But yeah, the shape of the flipper tab and the leverage that you can get on it. And then the landing zone, which look at this, the landing zone, this area right here, which is, you know, where you're meant to hold here or here. It's perfect. Your finger falls so naturally and so perfectly into this comfortable, nicely knocked down zone. Bam! And that huge, long blade, plenty of thickness, right? You can feel the weight of that thing flying out. It makes this amazing noise. The visuals that you're getting on camera and the sound that you're getting from the camera does not do this justice at all. This sounds amazing in person. One of the best sounding knives, the best feeling knives. This is a huge reason why it makes me want to spend this money on this, because I've not experienced this before. On top of that, let's get some close-ups of the work here. So this is kind of a subdued bronze look, and then you can see here we have this teeny tiny little milling pattern in. Oh my gosh. There's texturing on the inlay material. It's also contoured. The inlay work is perfection. I mean, it just is, right? This one is a sort of a sub frame lock, I guess. We've got the inlay sort of partially act like as a secondary over travel, because it's actually the over travel is actually the steel lock bar insert, which is present on this guy. They also have versions that are full frame lock versions. Levin was showing me one that was all zirconium and then it had the steel lock bar insert. You don't want zirconium as the lock face, but just amazing, right? Crazy stuff. Really, really cool. This is very beautiful. Obviously, all the edges are nicely knocked down. There's no sharpness or anything like that. The pocket clip is just flat out perfect. It also looks amazing, right? How they've got it mounted in here. Imagine it's being held in with a hidden screw. Obviously, I didn't take this thing apart, right? There's a screw underneath the assembly for the backspacer, I would guess. I don't think we're going to be able to see it, but yeah, that's what's holding it in, and then it's set into the titanium. You can kind of see how it's sitting in there. Symmetrical, has this beautiful little, it's polished, and then this area in here has been what looks like bead blasted. Nice continuous rise. Perfect. The same opinion I had of the Evo Typhoon. The clip is perfect. In and out of the pocket, this thing's a dream. If you are going to carry it, it's just perfect. The depth is perfect. It's just great. God, it's so good. I could gush about this all day, but we're 21 minutes in, and I'm sure my camera's going to cut me short, and I'll have to edit this video. But anyways, pivot right there. You've got Brian Nadeau's his logo and his initials. I love how they rise the titanium up to meet this sort of lip and creates this look of a pivot collar around the pivot. The other side has the proprietary sort of a kind of looks like a car rim or a star or something like that. It's fine. Looks good. On the blade on this particular version, we have it. Initially, it looked like bead blasting, but look, there's a pattern. This is Nitro V. On this one, he uses a whole bunch of different stuff, right? It just depends on what material is available. I mean, if Alex sent this material in, I don't know what his rule is about having materials sent in and making a knife out of it, right? So I don't know if he'll work with anything, or if he has certain blade steels he wants to work with, right? If you go and look at his Instagram, you'll see a wide variety of different things. But I'm not so much concerned with the material. I'm gonna, at this level, I'm gonna trust that the materials are gonna be as premium as they need to be, right? But it's not the materials at this caliber. It's the level of craftsmanship and how much work goes into it, how intricate that work is, how time intensive or labor intensive it is, right? That's what it ultimately equivalates to the price. Seeing stuff like this, I've always said, getting up close and seeing little details like this just does it for me. And that beautiful mirror polished edge. Oh God. I know, this is mesmerizing. I could do this all day, and I'm sure, people would sit here and watch me just turn this blade like a rotisserie chicken. God, it's beautiful. I love the little holes there. I think I've seen some blades without the holes. Like I said, even variety in the difference, how the blades look is just excellent. The edge is perfect, and the lines are absolutely perfect. You can see there that line goes all the way out to the tip, as I would expect. Bevels are equal, both sides. Beautiful. Just a glassy smooth. Oh, man, the edge is just wicked, man. Absolutely wicked. I love it. Beautiful. Flipper tab, it looks like it's going to be sharp, but it's actually been knocked down enough that it's really... the flipper tab is just infinitely comfortable to engage. That's the problem. You just saw me do that. The problem with a flipper dagger is that you forget which side you're on sometimes. Even though I could see the frame lock, right? You just forget. It's fine. Flipper tab is so comfortable, I could flip this 1,000 times in a row, and I'd probably, the muscles in my finger would wear out before, the skin got irritated, right? Steel lock bar insert, doubling as the over travel stop. Of course, you're going to be looking at, can we see it? It's hard to see. I'll get it lined up. There we go. Can you see that? How perfect the centering is on this? Perfect. Absolutely perfect. It's what you'd expect. No blade play up, down, left, or right. It's just not. This is my favorite custom knife I've ever handled. Actually, by quite a bit. I taught people, ask me like, what are your feelings on this versus the 80-20? The 80-20 is kind of like it's everything that I look for in a knife that's actually in my comfort zone for one that's available for purchase. But that particular one that I have is not a custom knife. That's an MG 8020, meaning machine ground, right? There are some machine elements in this, but this is largely, there's much more work that goes into this than the 8020 that I've got. This is totally different from a lot of my preferences, but it also oddly meets up with a lot of them too. The extra thickness in the titanium, even though, it's kind of a crazy illusion because it's contoured and has this, oh man, holding on to this thing too. We didn't talk about that. There's so much room to lock in, but it's so comfortable. Choking back, choking up, holding it like this, holding it like this is a hammer grip. Gosh, look at this. Awesome. Wonderful. This is my favorite custom knife that I've ever handled. If I were to ever spend an insane amount of money on a custom knife, it would be an arch nemesis. There is nothing out there right now, nothing out there that has even remotely tempted me, right? I mean, I find stuff interesting. It's like, oh man, that's so cool. Oh, it's really expensive. But it's fun to look at, right? And for the most part, it's pretty easy for me to I can still fall back and enjoy some of my $400, $500, $600, $700 knives, right? I've never been tempted to spend multiple thousands of dollars. And it's not like I've got it sitting around and I'm like, yeah, it's ready to fork over when the right one comes along. No, there's a lot that I'd have to do. I'd have to sell a bunch of knives. I'd have to mentally and emotionally prepare for it. But if I was going to do it, it'd be an arch nemesis. 100%. Nothing else even comes close in this territory for me. There's so much that I love about this, the knife. And by the way, no, I wouldn't use it. I could. You could totally use this if you wanted to. No, this would be something that I would just appreciate having as a knife enthusiast. I think I've made that very clear since the beginning of this channel. I am a knife enthusiast. I don't know everything, and I've got a million things to learn. But as an enthusiast, that's where I'm at right now, which is not... I'm still just a guy in a basement looking at knives, right? Who's been enjoying knives, in this territory, I guess, for about 9 years or so. Yeah, if I was going to spend that much money, it'd be on something like this. It ticks it ticks a bunch of boxes that I want to be ticked, extra boxes that I didn't know needed to be ticked, and it has all of these extra aesthetic elements. Right, it tickles the senses, right? In a way that you wouldn't know a knife would do. We're getting oddly intimate now. 27 minutes in the odd intimacy. I think maybe it's time to stop. There are probably so many more elements that could have been covered in this, but as you can see, I'm having an issue getting them out in a timely manner. So, Alex, if there's any blanks that needed to be filled in, please feel free to add those in. Anybody else who has experienced these knives or owned them, right? Feel free. Levin, Brian Nadeau, on the off chance you guys watch this, if I left anything out, got anything wrong, please, I'd rather people have the right information or any additional information that's necessary. Please feel free to add that in the comment section. This is wonderful, very exciting. I can only hope to someday acquire something like this. I would be honored to have something like this as part of my own personal collection. Make sure to check out the Knife Nuts podcast. Check them out, absolutely. Give them a follow on Instagram. Give Brian Nadeau a follow. Those are separate accounts, by the way. And make sure to check out Alex's Knife Box on YouTube and on Instagram as well. And if, while you're there, give me a follow. Guys, that's going to be pretty much it. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like. If you'd like to check out my other content, I do, of course, have lots of videos of knives that are either expensive or inexpensive that I do or don't like, so check those out. And if you enjoy all my content, go ahead and click on that metal complex logo right there and subscribe, because there's definitely more coming. Thanks again for watching, everybody, and have a great day.